What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're talking cheap fragrance alternatives. Those of you that are looking to smell great on a budget, I've got 10 what I believe to be phenomenal options that smell like or very similar to some slightly more pricey designers and even some niche fragrances in this particular category. Now, even some of the designers it smells like, they're not the most expensive fragrances out there, but if you want to save even more money and get a very similar experience, you might want to check some of these out. So let's get into this 10. Stay tuned. Starting with one that continues to surprise me every time I spray it. This is from Antonio Banderas. This is called the Icon Eau de Parfum. And this kind of falls into a similar vein as a little bit of like Dior Homme. And I mean the Iris version of Dior Homme. Meets a little bit of like Armani Code. There's this powdery floral tone. This nice spiciness to it. This leathery accord. Got a nice sweetness to it. Like, this is actually a really, really good fragrance that you can get for around 20 bucks. Super, super underrated. It's a little soapy, clean. Like, it doesn't smell exactly like either of those fragrances, but it borrows elements from both of them and kind of makes its own thing. This is more about alternatives than direct clones. So I want to make sure to be very clear here in the first one. So something like this may surprise you. I get about 6 or 7 hours in longevity on my skin. So it's a decent performer, and it's just super affordable. Doesn't smell like a $20 fragrance to me. It's actually, as far as the ones I've smelled, the best Antonio Banderas fragrance I've ever put my nose on. So maybe one to maybe check out for you floral, leather, spicy type of scent profile lovers. This is actually some really, really good stuff. This is from Antonio Banderas. This is called the Icon Eau de Parfum. This next one I would consider a great alternative to fragrances like Terre d'Hermès Eau Givrée or Dior Homme Cologne, or those of you that are constantly seeking out Mercedes-Benz Cologne. Like these beautiful, vibrant citrus fragrances. Well, I paid $17 for this 100 milliliter bottle that came with a cap. It is Karl Lagerfeld Bois de Yuzu, and while it's not the exact same scent profile as those, it is a vibrant, bright and zesty citrus fragrance that is so enjoyable, and I've talked about it quite a bit lately. I've worn it several times lately. It continues to surprise me. For $17, this is such a refreshing, very lively, citrus-based fragrance. Zesty, bright, obviously yuzu. I think there's a little bit of orange in here as well. Just has almost this kind of watery lemon smell in some ways. The yuzu and the orange kind of combine to create this beautiful citrus accord. It's very fresh. Definitely a summertime kind of fragrance, but one that anytime you're in the mood for just bright, airy, and fresh, just easy to like citrus, this is one that you can just reach for. And it's under 20 bucks to get your hands on this bottle and the link down below. And it's Bois de Yuzu from Karl Lagerfeld. Now, a personal favorite of mine is Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Parfum. It's not always that easy to find, though. And if you want a very similar scent profile, not quite the same level of performance, but much more affordable, we're talking in the $30 to $40 price point, you might want to look into Mandarina Duck's Vida Loca for him. So Vida Loca for him has very much a similar scent profile, but instead of bergamot and coconut, you get orange and coconut. You still have a little bit of that sweetness. You don't necessarily have the iris. You have some aromatics, florals like lavender and sage and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. But not the exact same fragrance, but pretty close. I would say this is like 80% Le Beau Parfum scent profile. And it's basically like take a little twist on that scent profile and lower the oil concentration, and you get that. Like, this is if Le Beau Parfum's scent profile was made into an eau de toilette concentration. Yes, I know they have Le Beau EDT, but they're not the exact same scent profile. Follow me. I'm trying to diverge any comments down below. So, regular viewers, you understand. Le Beau EDT doesn't have the complexity of Le Beau Parfum scent profile. This is similar to Le Beau Parfum scent profile, just a weaker fragrance overall. Still no slouch, though. God, that smells good. Beautiful, tropical, fresh, beach vibe, vacation kind of fragrance. If you like fragrances like Le Beau Parfum, at a fraction of the cost and way easier to find, you will definitely love Mandarina Duck Vida Loca for him. Now, fragrances like Dior Sauvage, even from discounters, not the cheapest thing out there. Fragrances kind of like a little bit of Parfums Marley Greenlee's scent profile. Fresh green apple, woodiness. This is kind of like Green Sauvage. It's almost like if you mixed Parfums Marley Greenlee with Sauvage, you would get Coach for Men Green. Coach for Men Green very much has that going on. Instead of apple, it's a kiwi note. And then you've got this kind of peppered green, woody, rosemary, mossy green kind of smell to it. It does smell like Ambroxan's in there, even though they don't list it. It is quite nice. This came out in 2023. This is a relatively new release. It's, as far as I remember, the newest release from Coach currently at the recording of this video. And you could already get it for a very good price. I paid a little over $30 for this 100 milliliter bottle. Kind of going right in the mid-30s to mid-40s price point. In line with most Coach fragrances for men. And it's solid. It's a decent performer. It falls kind of in that 6, 7, even 8 hour range. Develops a little bit. Has kind of that shower gel smell that relates to Sauvage, but with a lot more fresh green and spicy elements. A green fruitiness from kiwi. Rosemary, a spicy green cooking spice. Oak moss, a nice earthy green tone. So the color scheme and the name's very fitting. Just tie it into Dior Sauvage, mix it with Greenlee, and here you go. It's a great alternative to both of them, and it's very affordable. It's a solid release. It's Coach for Men Green. Now, one thing that's pretty well known is Chanel's pretty good about keeping their fragrances close to the vest. You don't see their fragrances at discount sites too often, and even when you do, they are not far from retail. So fragrances like the beloved Chanel L'Homme Sport, still pretty pricey. But if you go with Missoni Wave, you can get a very, very similar scent profile and experience for $35 to $50 range, depending on where you find it. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to cost in the link below. I haven't added links and done any shopping yet, but I'll see what I can do to find something for you guys that are interested, because this is one of the best cheap fragrance pickups I've had in a very, very long time. It's aquatic, it's citric, it's got this vanillic floral tone from this orchid note, a little bit of vanilla. It's soapy, it's aromatic. It smells very much like a little bit of Versace Pour Homme, but lot more like Chanel L'Homme Sport. Such a good fragrance. It really is. It's a cooling summertime freshie with some creaminess and some added depth of sweetness. This is one that has a high compliment factor as far as the scent profile, with the, again, decent performance, 6-7 hour fragrance on my skin. Obviously, everybody's situation varies, but I get decent performance out of this one. I love the way it smells. This is one I never hesitate to recommend to anyone, and I think it's a wonderful, affordable alternative option for anybody that's looking to get a similar experience to Chanel L'Homme Sport on a budget. An all-time great is Creed's Green Irish Tweed, and there's a ton of fragrances out there that replicate the scent profile, have their twist on the scent profile, but for the like $20 to $25 price point, especially if you find it in rack stores, you'll get it for that price. A little bit more online, but not much more. For me, Banana Republic's Grassland is a wonderful, wonderful interpretation of Green Irish Tweed. Actually, my personal favorite, to the point that when I want Green Irish Tweed scent profile, I just reach for this, which doesn't happen all the time, but this kind of stops me from getting Green Irish Tweed because it's such a good take. Spicy green, a little floral, nice and woodsy. Has some aromatics to it. It's a really, really good fragrance. For the 20 some odd bucks, I paid $21, I think, at a Burlington. This, great option. I see it pop up at Burlington's. That's going to be my recommendation, is the main place to find these Banana Republic Icon line fragrances. I'll have a link below. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more than at the rack stores, but if you can find this at the rack stores, it's a steal. Another great one would be Metal Rain, kind of their take on Creed Silver Mountain Water. But for me, this is one of their best in the line, and in my personal opinion, one of the best ways to smell like Green Irish Tweed on a budget without it being a direct carbon copy. So you might want to check this one out. And it's Banana Republic Grassland. I'm a huge fan of Emporio Armani Strong With You and all of its flankers. This could be its own flanker because it's kind of like a slightly fruitier take, more of a tropical version of Stronger With You, if you will. It's Cristiano Ronaldo's CR7 Game On. It's got this tropical fruity smell at the top and very much has that sweet, spicy, kind of roasted chestnut smell of Stronger With You Eau de Toilette, the original. Man, that smells good. 6+ hours. It depends. I've never clocked it at less than 6. I've never clocked it at more than 8. let's call it 6 to 8 hours. You might get a little less, you might get a little more, but for around 30 bucks for a 100 milliliter bottle, that's at rack stores and discounters online. This is a very similar experience. It's, you know, like a third of the price of Strong With You at this point, milliliter to milliliter. Could you just get Strong With You? Absolutely, but for a third of the price, why not? If it's similar in performance, it's not quite a big drop off. I mean, if you get 7 hours out of this, most people are going to get 9 or 10 hours out of Stronger With You. It's not a huge difference, and you're going to pay a third of the price roughly. Smells very good if you like fruity openings, more attractive openings. You might like this one. Like I said, this could stand on its own as like a fruity flanker, Strong With You Tropics or something like that. Watch them drop a flanker like that. You never know. Maybe you never know who's watching these videos, right? But for the money, if you like Strong With You and you want it on a budget, here you go. It's Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7, game on. Now, this isn't quite as deep and rich as Nishane's Ani, but Fragrance World did a really good job. They were going for getting close to a carbon copy, and it came out to almost there. More inspired by than direct carbon copy, but very close to Nishane's Ani, is Spectra Ghost from Fragrance World. Very unique bottle design. I actually love the bottle design. Frosted glass, heavy, heavy base, great cap, great atomizer. I mean, everything about it. Oh, man, and that vanilla, that woodsy vanilla, nice and ambery, spiced. Has a nice hit of this like lavender aromatic smell that adds a little bit of soapiness to it. But overall, it lacks some of that like boozy benzoin kind of feel that I get from Nishane's Ani. That's the biggest takeaway that I find is the difference between the two. But overall, I would call this like 85% roughly of the scent profile of Nishane Ani. For the money, it's a great interpretation. It really is. And it's such a cool looking bottle to me. Very unique bottle with the bullet and bullet casing up here. They did a really good job, I gotta say. And they're 35 bucks or something like that is what it goes for. In the link below, I'm not sure if it's in stock right now or not, but it is pretty much Nishane Ani on a budget. Again, not a direct copy, but a very, very close interpretation that's going to get you similar performance too. This one falls in the 8 to 10 hour range easily in longevity for me. So if you're looking for Nishane Ani, you might want to take a look at Fragrance World's Spectra Ghost. Now, I'm a huge fan of Tom Ford Ombre Leather and Ombre Leather Parfum, and Afnan kind of made a blend of the two, the way the scent profile comes across. This is called Rare Carbon. I've featured this one many times on the channel. This is a great take on it. So, it's not exactly Ombre Leather. It's not exactly Ombre Leather Parfum. It's got elements of both. You get a little bit of the violet leaf. You get some florals, which is pretty much in the scent profile. The biggest difference of the scent profile for Ombre Leather Parfum with that vibrant, kind of bright leather, a little bit of sweetness and some like a jasmine hit that you get from Ombre Leather Eau de Parfum, the regular version. This is really, really good. This has stopped me from getting Ombre Leather for such a long time. We're going to spray that on skin. I love when I talk about this one in a video. I love smelling it, spraying it in the air. Might as well put it on skin. That is so good. It really is a great offering from them. Afnan tend to use decent oils too. The quality here is actually pretty nice. I'm not going to say it's on the same level as the Tom Ford fragrances, but it gets pretty close. It doesn't smell super cheap and synthetic to me because you can get this one anywhere from the high 20s to mid $30 price point. Performance is well above average. I wouldn't call it a beast, but I wouldn't call it weak either. Oh man, and it just smells really good. There's some freshness, there's some brightness, but there's also depth and body to this fragrance. If you like leather accords, you like Tom Ford Ombre Leather, you might want to look into this one. Again, that's from Afnan. This is Rare Carbon. Last but not least, this is kind of a stripped down, simplified, very affordable version of Elysium Parfum Cologne in many ways. You still get the bright, juicy grapefruit, you get the woodiness from some vetiver, and you lose a lot of the complexity in between, but boy, it still smells really good. It's mega fresh and easy to like. It is Hugo Reversed. This was a straight up hype beast for a while there in the last couple of years, and it's still great, still easy to get from discounters online for a great price. And it's still one of the better cheapy grapefruit notes out there, because around 30 bucks, you're going to get a 125 ml bottle. A little less than that, you can get a 75 ml like I have in the low 20s. This is good stuff. Again, not exactly Elysium Parfum Cologne. It's a very stripped down version of it, but you do smell similarities. At least I smell similarities to it with the grapefruit and the woodiness of this fragrance. You just lose a lot of all that in between. You don't get any of the leather, any of the greens, or any of the things that make it an aromatic fougere. This is more of a citrus aromatic with a nice woody dry down. Good stuff. Average performance, nothing crazy here. 5 to 6 hours ish. Let's call it 4 to 6 hours. Slightly below average to average is typically what I get from it. But for the money and for the scent profile, it's worth checking out. And that's Hugo Reversed. Well, that's the 10 that I have for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What of these 10 have you tried, or which one of these kind of sparked your interest to maybe check out? Like I said before, I'll try to have links to everything down below for anybody that's interested in checking any of these out. Until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these 10 affordable alternatives and you give them a spray now, it's a real good chance you might thank me later. Have a good one, guys.